start with us. Okay, start with us.
Have some knowledge about what dementia is. Just
Yes.
basic knowledge even.
From a human perspective, not a research perspective.
Right.
You know, you can study the disease and all about it, but if you don't know the human part of it, you don't know anything.
Okay, somebody got a grant to do this, that, and the other thing, but start with us and develop the research from there with us and include us from point A to point Z.
Nothing about us without us.
We have a lot to teach the world, don't we, you guys? Hi, I'm Brenda Roberts, the Executive Director of National Council of Dementia Minds, the first national nonprofit organization founded and governed by persons living with dementia. I'm excited to introduce you to three phenomenal advocates and thought leaders living with Alzheimer's disease, as they explore the importance of relationships and partnerships when conducting clinical research. You will meet Jim Butler, a longtime managing partner and CEO who was diagnosed in 2014. Joanna Fix, PhD, a former college professor who was diagnosed with younger onset Alzheimer's disease in 2016. And Joyce Pelnaver, a retired mental health professional who was diagnosed in 2021. You will also meet Joyce's spouse and care partner, Cheryl Orr, in a few cameo appearances. Last year, we met over the course of 3 months. We laughed, we cried, we debated and discussed, and we recorded. And what we learned is so simple. Start with the person living with dementia. So let's do exactly that. We would like to learn more from you about when you think it is the best time to ask a person living with dementia to participate in research.
For me personally, I think it would have been at the diagnosis, because you're getting this tremendously heavy news and the positivity that being asked to be of value, to be perceived as being still a productive member of society and a value to society, that positive opportunity right there outweighs any kind of concern that we might feel vulnerable or coerced. I mean, that's just a risk you're going to take, but I really don't think that's a risk that needs to be considered.
I was diagnosed at Northwestern in Chicago 8 years ago, and they had a bunch of little support groups that I could go. And I went to a couple of those support groups for a little while, but about a year into that, they reached out and asked me to get in a trial. It was the SNF trial, and it was happening at Northwestern. All of a sudden, I was being proactive with what I had. You know, it was a good thing to do for a year and a half.
I'm hoping that this would be a relationship. People would get to know me and know what my limits are and be able to adjust accordingly. And I'd also like the researcher to be able to switch from that researcher hat and go into a personal situation so that we can be people together. We're partners doing this, you know, and I'm hoping to be able to give to you the information of what this is like having Alzheimer's.
If someone came to me and said, we would like to partner with you in some research, is that something that would interest you? And to me, I mean, Brenda knows I never say no. So I'd be like, yes, yes, yes. And it will also kind of waylay, if that's a word, I've heard it, that negative impact of, oh my God, now I'm dying. It would really temper that for me. Going from feeling like a guinea pig, like I'm being researched, to I, along with Brenda and Dr. Vega, are conducting research. We're all researchers. I mean, when you look it up, we are verifying the legitimacy of what we're talking about. We are the verifiers. We are the experts. So we are part of the research team. I think that's an important switch to make in the conversation.
What's effective way to communicate with a person living with dementia?
Put down that clipboard. Ask us anything. We'll tell you if we can't do it. We'll tell you if we don't want to do it.
What's really one of the main things that's important to me is to be heard. For example, some days are good, some are not. And I might have come into a program, might have an hour session, but my cognitive awareness might be low. So I would like to be able to adjust and say, I'm not going to be able to do the whole hour. And you can understand that's because I'm having difficulty.
I don't need crap that doesn't need to be here. I just need it to be simple. I need it to be straightforward. I need it to be repeated. I need it to be slow. Please use my name. I've been hearing it for 54 years. I need to see as much as possible when it comes to communicating with another person. When we have Zooms and someone has their camera off, I can't hear them.
Written material now is difficult for me. So sometimes I might ask you to read it for me. And the easier the written material is, the better. I'm fortunate enough to have a caregiver who can help me with that, but everybody's not.
I mean, it's frustrating because because they read it all to you and you're remembering it, but knowing that memory is going to disappear in a few seconds. All right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It always happens like this. And but that's what it is,
Plan extra time. I mean, this is just the reality of being a co-researcher with a person living with dementia. We have to plan that time.
I cannot multitask with sensitivity and with taking in more than one thing anymore. I just can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't. So I need one thing only. And it's really important to provide written instructions. So tell me what you're going to tell me, then tell me what you told me, write it down, give me a copy, go over it with me, read it to me, ask me for feedback if I understood it, because your words might mean something different to me. Because nowadays there's times when I say pineapple and I mean elephant. They do not have to connect whatsoever. That's very common with dementia.
My profession was a mental health therapist. And what the clients asked of me, I'm asking for me now. Don't assume what I'm saying. It has to be a two-way conversation. Active listening is vital. If I'm not sure of something, I need you to repeat it. If I stop, it's because things have slowed down for me. And I need you to either wait or understand that. Say, please restate what I say to you if you're not clear, and allow me to restate what I'm saying so that if I don't feel that you understood what I said.
I need to be able to make all the mistakes I'm going to make and be able to feel safe. And I need you to not make any, knowing that you're going to make them. I just need you to try not to. So
let's discuss what makes you feel safe to participate in research in regard to both people and environment. And so, Joyce, to me, since you're a person of color, this is a really important question that I think researchers need to hear from you about. So tell us what you're thinking.
It's so vital to me to be seen. And people like me, it's important to be seen and feel accepted. Having someone there that we can relate to or feel. And even if it's not a person that's LGBT like myself or African American, if you can feel from the person that they understand, and then we can feel safe and we can participate. It would be great if they had some history, know about the history in our country, which is trying to be squashed out. But it would be good if they understand while we are a little skittish, because when we've been in research in the past, it's been very negative for us.
Nothing makes me open up more than being able to see a fellow human soul. And nothing makes me want to run more than seeing someone put up that barrier because they think I am less than.
Let me share something with you. I'm in this clinical trial now They asked me if I'm in Union Prairie, Michigan, which is right across the lake from Chicago, about an hour and 15 minutes. And they said, if you'd like transportation, we'd be happy to provide it. And I said, sure, what the heck? So now they send a black car, a limo car, pick me up and let me over
Oh
there.
my gosh. The neighbors
do.
are
A
like,
limo.
now where's that guy
And
now?
they wait for me, and that's a 2.5 or a 3 hour ordeal. And then they let me back here to Michigan.
Even though you're still driving, which is great, you're using your cognitive reserves to drive there and drive back. So
That's right.
you don't have an unlimited supply. We don't. So I think
That's right.
you're probably in a better position to be at your best when you have someone driving you.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
This should be like a state dinner. Like,
Right?
we should be received like we're going to the White House.
I like your style. Champagne and steak. Okay.
I know, Cheryl's with me. Can I add one more thing?
Mhm.
Talking about getting around the building when you get to where you're going. So getting there and then getting into the building, even though as soon as I checked in, I think it was the hospital, the lady gave me a map, which was great. And she said, now you're going to go here, here, here. And so I'm looking at the map, and of course I'm not registering it, but you
Right.
are here. And then then she gave me like eight instructions. And I said, okay, now what was the first one? And having a physical person there, a volunteer
Yes.
to take you from that check-in point, because by the time I got to where I was supposed to go, I had to cancel. I said, it took so much for me to get here, not just once I got to the building, but to find where I'm supposed to be to do this, that I don't have anything left. And that was something that they kind of didn't really understand. Well, next time I took Forrest, and again, we didn't have somebody walking us to the place. We got the map, we got the instructions, but even he was busy taking care of me. I mean, we both needed somebody, a docent or somebody to walk us. I mean, that makes a huge difference.
What's the best way to bring your care partner in without affecting the relationship with the person living with dementia? And Joyce, I know you talk about you and Cheryl being a unit.
It would be great if there was a project where Cheryl and I can participate as a unit, because we are. And I think that would be helpful for us and for the research project to see how that happens and how that works, the best way that works for us, the positive and the negative.
I think it's not asking for that much to have our care partner with us, because we're at our best, we have them for a reason. And I think it's good for them too. However, when someone's explaining something to me, even if 10 times out of 10, they know I'm going to have to turn to him for support, it's never going to be okay for them to just decide, well, let's skip over her and just talk to Forrest.
That's vital, because the doctor, that's why I changed doctors. Because the doctor I have now, I feel that I'm heard. I feel that she's listened to me. And if she needs to talk to Cheryl or bring her in, I don't feel like it's disrespecting me or anything.
One thing that's been really helpful is that I get all the communication that Joyce gets, so that if she misses anything, I make sure that, or if I miss some, I'll miss some stuff too. That we make sure that we both have the information. So definitely including me in that piece.
Yeah, I noticed that I needed to make sure Joyce was copied because Cheryl just can't keep track of stuff.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
I would prefer to be with a buddy, with another person living with dementia. There's no substitute for people who are having a similar experience, and we're vital to one another's well-being, absolutely vital.
It feels like a family. I know these people understand me. It feels like being, when I go to my lesbian group, or I'm in a in the African American structure. I've gotten a new family being in dementia groups.
I was just thinking it makes you feel a lot less vulnerable if you have someone there.
Okay.
And I do like the part of just at the very beginning, because that's when you feel the most hopeless, when you
Right.
first get that diagnosis, and then to say, okay, this is something that I could do.
Initial diagnosis
Mhm.
is when you feel the most vulnerable and alone.
Yes, yes.
So having another person living with dementia early on in the,
Right.
would be
When I
perfect.
first got my diagnosis, I got it at Northwestern, and they had some real nice support groups that I would, and
That makes a
for
difference.
that, and I found peers there, and I ran into folks that were, that had diagnosed before me, and they were doing pretty good. So it was a great thing to do. That was
Yes,
kind of like
encouraging.
my introduction to Alzheimer's was that.
And how cool would it be if you and the same sort of cohort group came in the same time all the time?
Mm.
So you saw the same people there when
Yes.
you came.
Mhm.
It's great to have the support of care partners and a wonderful care community. It is the cream of heaven to have Jim and Joyce, with me, and that makes me feel comfortable and it makes me feel safe. I would prefer to have that type of environment for me to be able to perform at my best.
What motivates you to participate in research?
It gives us an opportunity to fight back, to contribute, to make a difference, and to have some meaning rather than just wondering what's going to happen with my diagnosis. You're part of that in a clinical trial, and for me, that's I'm able to do that, and I'm proud and grateful to be able to do that, and doing advocacy on that front is an enormous important part of what I'm doing. If I'm in a clinical trial, maybe I'm helping someone, maybe I'm the real deal drug, maybe not, but I'm helping, and that's really important to me.
It's so important for me to get as much information as I can. I love getting information, knowledge, and a huge part of it is to give back, because when I told someone about Alzheimer's, the way they looked at me and the pity that I saw, that's because they didn't know. They don't know. The knowledge is not out there. It's so important for people to understand what dementia and Alzheimer's really is.
We're here because we want to help. We are doing this because it also makes us happy. It helps us and it helps others. And so if we've got the ability, then we need to be considered as equals. When I was looking for resources, there was very little out there, and what was out there didn't really serve me at the time. And what's exciting to me is to be part of creating the resources. After all, Jim and Joyce and we are the living experts. There's providers out there, there's specialists, there's people who have been doing this forever, that have been caregivers. There are people with all kinds of experience. However, nobody trumps us because, this is what it is. We're walking, talking, living, breathing, testimonies.
Thank you for joining us. I know this information will be impactful as you recruit and retain persons living with dementia for your research projects. For more information and resources, please visit our website at dementiaminds.org. Thank you.